Hello and welcome to the WBAP 820 570 KLIF Weather Podcast for March 14th, 2022. From the Cumulus Broadcast Center in DFW, I'm Chief Meteorologist Brad Barton. Thanks for joining us today. After a couple rounds of wintry weather last week, we are rapidly moving into the spring severe weather season. And sure enough, Dallas, Fort Worth, and most of North Texas are covered by a severe weather outlook today for tonight. And we are in the slight risk category. Let's go to that now. Here's our 8 a.m. update from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. This is the generalized categorical outlook for day one. And this came out at 8 o'clock this morning. You can see that about everything from Bryan College Station up to Texoma, from south to north, and also from I-35W all the way over to the Arklatex, covered with the slight risk area, surrounded by marginal risk and then general thunderstorm risk off to the way out to the west. We believe some thunderstorms may start out west, but our concern is a lot of these storms are going to actually form over us. Now, here is a more precise view of the specific tornado threat, just a 5% increase from normal, but there is a slight risk of a tornado or two with this particular severe weather outbreak, generally east of Dallas, but awfully close. And then this is the specific risk factor for hail, and that's up to 15% greater than normal, with some emphasis right in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So it would be a good idea if you keep your car in the garage tonight, that's for sure. But what I want to emphasize is that instead of watching the storms develop out at Abilene and march in here for several hours, which is often the case, so we can gauge their speed and storm vectors, today's storms could form very close to I-35W in Fort Worth or even I-35E in Dallas. And if they form close to us or over us, we're going to have very little warning. So please stay up on the weather all day by listening to WBAP 820 AM or 570 AM KLIF, because we originate the broadcast warnings for North Texas. Now, whether it's flash flood, tornado, or severe thunderstorm, and that's really good from Mineral Wells to Kaufman. That's from west to east, and also from Sanger in the north down to Waxahachie to the south. So please stay with us throughout the day. Now, here's the fuel for those thunderstorms. Copious amounts of low-level Gulf moisture flowing northward on gusty south winds. You can see all those clouds, lower, thicker clouds moving up from the Gulf, strong northward movement. Also, look up in the panhandle there, what's moving down toward about Lubbock right now. That is the trailing Pacific cold front that is also part of this storm event. It's not going to be that much colder. We could be down in the 40s tomorrow morning, but it's not an Arctic front, it's a Pacific front, and there are two surface lows tied to that. In fact, let's go ahead and go to the surface map just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Look at this. The Arctic air stays up north. This is a Pacific front coming in. You can see it trails from a surface low in western Oklahoma back down through west Texas, out to, almost to the Big Bend country, but a little north of there, and then trails on back through southern New Mexico and southern Arizona. In fact, we have two surface lows. Another surface low on that front trails a dry line down to the Big Bend country, and it's probably where that dry line will be this afternoon. That's where the storms are most likely to hit. We're going to move the map forward to 7 o'clock tonight. That's pretty much time central. That's pretty much what with a 0 hour, okay? That's when we think things are going to be underway here in North Texas, 7 o'clock. In fact, we need to start watching between 5 and 7. But the Pacific front is now caught up with the dry line. Storms are underway. Big storms are underway across North and East Texas, also in Southeast Texas, and the Arklatex. Now, by midnight, the storms have cleared out of the DFW area, but they are still active over Louisiana and Arkansas, while a new storm system comes ashore in the Pacific Northwest. Pretty good one, actually. And then by Thursday morning, that Pacific storm system is in the central Rockies, and our old storm system now as well has moved well east of Texas. It's dropping a lot of rain over Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. So that's kind of how things are progressing. Now, again, that storm system that's back to the west over the Rockies, that could play a part in bringing us some rain and thunderstorms Thursday night into Friday. So that might be our second outbreak of rain and thunderstorms this week. Now let's go to our high-res rapid refresh model predicting what the radar is going to look like tonight. This is the high-res rapid refresh model. You can see how it swings the storms through here. Now I'm going to stop it and back it up to about 7 o'clock. So that is what the high-res refresh model believes the radar is going to look like at about 7 o'clock this evening. Those storms are well formed, so again, between 5 and 7 is when we expect them to develop, maybe starting at 4 o'clock this afternoon. We'll just have to keep a close eye on it. Now, although we broadcast all the warnings here on WBAP and KLIF, I always recommend a weather alert radio that alarms whenever a warning is issued. And by the way, if you're on Twitter, you can follow today at Brad Barton DFW as I get new information from the Storm Prediction Center that will probably narrow down the risk area, be a little bit more specific. I will tweet that out at Brad Barton DFW, and when I can, I try to tweet out radar loops as well. So just follow me on Twitter at Brad Barton DFW, and I'll do what I can to keep you informed before the event gets here. But, of course, once we get into warnings, we're going to be pretty busy, and we are expecting to be pretty busy tonight. Thanks for joining us again for the podcast today, and let's watch the weather tonight. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.